Welcome to our exciting video, Liberty half-dollar coins from 1971, 1972, 1976, and 1985. The Liberty half-dollar, more accurately known as the Kennedy half-dollar, has been a symbol of American legacy since 1964, but between 1971 and 1985, it took on new historical and collectible value. In 1971, the U.S. Mint ended silver production, switching to a copper-nickel-clad composition. These coins featured President John F. Kennedy, in honor of his legacy after his assassination in 1963. They were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. Let's get started. First step, there was no Liberty half-dollar minted in 1972. Instead, in 1972, the official half-dollar coin issued by the United States Mint was the Kennedy half-dollar. The confusion may stem from the use of Lady Liberty's image on earlier coin designs, such as the Walking Liberty half-dollar 1916 to 1947 or the Liberty Seated half-dollar 1839 to 1891, but those were no longer in production by 1972. Let me provide a complete historical and numismatic profile of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, the only official U.S. half-dollar minted that year. I'll also explain its historical roots, circulation status, and uncirculated conditions. The Kennedy half-dollar series indirectly continues the legacy of Liberty-themed coinage in American history. The Kennedy half-dollar was introduced in 1964, just months after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. On November 22, 1963, the coin was intended as a tribute to the fallen president and was fast-tracked through legislation and design approvals. It replaced the Franklin half-dollar 1948 to 1963. By 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar had been in circulation for 8 years. While it was a widely recognized coin, by the early 1970s it was increasingly hoarded and less frequently used in daily transactions. Obverse front features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Inscription, Liberty Arches above his head. Below the portrait, the date 1972, In God We Trust, split left and right across his neck. Reverse back, designed by Frank Gasparro. The reverse shows the presidential seal. An eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a ring of 50 stars, representing the state's inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar. In 1972, Kennedy half-dollars were made entirely from copper-nickel clad, a change that began in 1971. Outer layers 75% copper, 25% nickel core, 100% copper total composition. No silver, unlike the 1964 version which had 90% silver. Weight, 11.34 grams. Diameter, 30.6 3 U.S. mints. Struck, Kennedy half-dollars in 1972. Mint mark. Location mintage Philadelphia and Philadelphia, PA 153, 180,000 Denver D. Denver, CO 141,890,000 San Francisco CA proof only 3,260,996 proof coins from San Francisco were struck on highly polished dies and intended for collectors, not circulation. Despite high mintage numbers, Kennedy half-dollars including the 1972 edition were not commonly seen in daily commerce by the mid-1970s. Reasons included public hoarding of early Kennedy coins as souvenirs or out of reverence, silver coinage confusion, as earlier versions pre-1971 still contained silver by the 1980s. Circulation use had nearly vanished, and the coin became more of a collector's item and used in casinos and coin rolls. Uncirculated mint state. Coins are graded on a scale of MS62 to MS70, where MS70 is flawless under magnification. 1972 coins in MS65 condition can be valued between $2 and $15, depending on the mint mark. Ms 67 plus coins are rare and can fetch $100 or more. Proof. Coins 1972s are specially made for collectors. Features, mirror-like fields, frosted devices, strike precision, typically found in proof sets. Value range, $4 to $15, with deep cameo DCAM examples grading PR69 or PR70 going higher. The Kennedy half-dollar was distributed nationwide, although usage was uneven. By the 1970s, usage was most common in bankrolls in casino gaming machines, particularly in Nevada in collector circles, and proof sets rarely used in day-to-day retail transactions outside the U.S. Kennedy half-dollars circulated lightly in overseas military bases and American territories, often as part of military payments or exchanges. No silver in 1972. Half-dollars a common misunderstanding. Mint errors exist, double dies, off-center strikes, etc., and may have numismatic premiums. A Wellstreck, high-grade 1972D or 1972 No. Mint mark in MS67 or better is scarce and collectible. The Kennedy half-dollar continues to be struck today, but mostly for collectors. Feature description year 1972 obverse JIFK portrait by Gilroy Roberts Ravers presidential. Seal by Frank Gasper Ackenpaspink nickel-clad silver content mints Philadelphia no mark. Denver D. San Francisco S proof. Usage circulation, mostly collectors and casino use value uncirculated to $15. Higher for MS67 plus value proof for $25 plus, depending on grade and cameo quality, although the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar does not explicitly feature the Liberty figure. The term Liberty is prominently inscribed on the obverse, and the coin continues the broader American numismatic tradition of celebrating liberty, leadership, and national identity. For collectors looking for a coin featuring Lady Liberty, the Walking Liberty half-dollar 1916 to 1947 is the last U.S. half-dollar with a full Liberty figure and was a direct inspiration for the modern American Silver Eagle bullion coin. If you're looking for a 1972 coin with a Liberty figure, it's likely a misunderstanding or mislabeling of a Kennedy half-dollar, or possibly a commemorative or replica piece. If you can upload an image, I can help you identify it exactly. Next up, 1971 Liberty half-dollar. The 1971 Liberty half-dollar marks a turning point in American coinage history. While many refer to it as a Liberty half-dollar, its official name is the Kennedy half-dollar, featuring the iconic image of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. This coin, first minted in 1964, was a direct response to national grief following Kennedy's assassination. However, the 1971 issue holds particular significance, marking the first year this coin was minted without any silver content. The Kennedy half-dollar was authorized by Congress just a month after President Kennedy's assassination in November 1963. The mint moved swiftly to design a new coin that would honor the fallen president. Gilroy Roberts designed the obverse portrait of Kennedy, while Frank Gaspereau designed the reverse, an adaptation of the presidential seal. From 1964 to 1970, the coin contained silver, though in reduced quantities after 1965. The 1964 version was 90% silver, while coins from 1965 to 1970 were reduced to 40% silver. In 1971, the U.S. Mint made a major decision to completely eliminate silver from the half-dollar. This was a response to increasing silver prices and the continued hoarding of silver-containing coins, which disrupted regular circulation. In 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar was produced at two major U.S. Mint facilities: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Denver Mint, identified by a small D mint mark on the reverse, just above the zero in the date. The San Francisco Mint did not produce standard circulation half-dollars that year, though it did strike proof coins intended for collectors with an S mint mark. Philadelphia, no mint mark 155,164,000. Denver den 302 millones. 97,424 San Francisco. S proof only, 3,220,733 Portrait of John F. Kennedy, facing left, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Inscriptions: Liberty along the top edge, In God We Trust beneath the chin. In the year 1971, at the bottom, heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, an adaptation of the Great Seal of the United States. Surrounding the eagle are 50 stars. Designed by Frank Gaspereau. Inscriptions: United States of America and $. Metal composition: 75% copper, 25% nickel clad over a pure copper core. Diameter: 30.6 weight, 11.34 grams. Edge reeded grooved. This composition is commonly referred to as cupronickel clad, and was shared with dimes and quarters after the removal of silver from circulating coinage. By 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar was still widely recognized and respected, but its circulation was declining. Many Americans associated the coin with commemorative or collector's items rather than everyday use. Additionally, half-dollars were becoming cumbersome in a retail setting. Thus, despite the high mintages, few 1971 half-dollars were regularly circulated. and most ended up in bank vaults, hoards, or coin collections. Many people simply saved them out of respect for President Kennedy or in hopes of future value uncirculated. Coins are those that were never released into general circulation. They typically retain their original mint luster, have no wear, and are graded based on the Sheldon scale, ranging from MS60 to MS70 mint state. 1971 Kennedy half dollars in uncirculated condition can be worth a few dollars, especially for high examples MS65 plus. Coins graded MS67 or higher become increasingly rare and valuable, often commanding $100 or more, depending on the market and grading service. Proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, struck using polished dies and specially prepared planchettes, are also collectible, especially in PR67 or PR68 deep cameo condition. Collectors particularly seek coins with full strike details, especially on the eagle's feathers, mint errors, or unusual features, such as double dies or off-center strikes. The Kennedy half dollar is more than just currency. It represents a moment in time, a snapshot of national mourning and admiration. The 1971 issue, being the first to drop silver entirely, also symbolizes a major economic shift in American coinage. The coin also serves as a tribute to a president who, though his term was brief, left a lasting legacy on American politics, civil rights, and international affairs. It became a common keepsake passed from generation to generation, though rarely seen in everyday transactions today. The Kennedy half dollar is still minted each year, mainly for collectors. In 2021, the U.S. Mint resumed limited circulation releases of the coin, responding to public interest and demand from institutions like casinos and vending services. The 1971 version remains a popular and affordable entry point for collectors. It sits at the intersection of numismatic interest, historical significance, and aesthetic desig. The 1971 Liberty Kennedy half dollar is more than a coin, it's a piece of American history. It represents the end of silver in circulating half dollars, the enduring admiration for a fallen leader, and the evolution of U.S. coinage in response to changing economic realities. Whether held in a coin collection, discovered in a change jar, or passed down as a memento, it remains a timeless reminder of a pivotal era in American life. Would you like a printable version of this script, or a version suitable for a video narration or blog post? Liberty half dollar coin from 1976. In 1976, the United States celebrated its bicentennial, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. In honor of this monumental occasion, the U.S. Mint released specially designed versions of its circulating coinage, including the Liberty half dollar, officially known as the 1976 Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar, while often referred to casually as the Liberty half dollar due to its prominent inscriptions and patriotic themes. The coin features a bust of President John F. Kennedy and carries a unique reverse design commemorating American independence. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964, just months after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. It replaced the Franklin half dollar and was a joint tribute by the U.S. Congress and the Mint to memorialize the fallen president. Sculptor Gilroy Roberts designed the obverse portrait of Kennedy, while Frank Gasparo designed the reverse featuring the presidential seal. In anticipation of the United States Bicentennial in 1976, Congress authorized a temporary redesign of the reverse side of three denominations, the quarter dollar, the half dollar, the dollar coin. This led to the introduction of the dual-dated 1776 to 1976 bicentennial coins. Portrait President John F. Kennedy's Enna, Gilroy Roberts inscriptions, Liberty at the top, In God We Trust, dual date, 1776 to 1976. Instead of the usual single-year design, Independence Hall in Philadelphia design. Seth G. Huntington, winner of a public competition, United States of America, 200 Years of Freedom, E Pluribus Unum half dollar. This reverse design is a tribute to the birthplace of American democracy, Independence Hall, where the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution were debated and adopted. Philadelphia, Mint No Mint Mark, Denver Mint D, San Francisco Mint E circulation, strikes. Philadelphia and Denver copper nickel clad outer layers of copper nickel, bonded to a pure copper core collector versions. San Francisco Mint, proof strikes as in copper nickel clad 40% silver clad versions, both proof and uncirculated, sold in bicentennial mint sets and proof sets. Philadelphia No Mint Mark, 234 million Denver D, 287 million San Francisco proof S clad, 7 million San Francisco 40% silver, uncirculated S. 11 million San Francisco 40% silver proof, S. 4 million Independence Hall, featured on the reverse, is located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a city central to America's founding history. The use of this building symbolized national unity and a return to democratic roots during a time of social and political unrest. In the US during the 1970s, the coin served not only as currency but also as a portable emblem of patriotism and historical reflection. Uncirculated coins were struck with special care and not intended for general circulation. These coins exhibit no wear, retain full mint luster, and often display sharp strike details. Mint state MS grades range from MS60 to MS70. These coins are particularly sought after by collectors due to their limited mintage and silver content. They were included in Bicentennial, silver uncirculated set Bicentennial silver proof sets housed in special packaging with certificates of authenticity from the US Mint. Circulated copper-nickel coins, face value 50 cents to $2 depending on condition. Uncirculated copper-nickel coins, MS65 plus, $5 $15 silver uncirculated coins, S-Mint Mark 40% silver, $8 $20 plus proof silver coins, $15 $25 or more depending on grade and packaging. The 1976 Liberty Kennedy half dollar is a hallmark of mid-20th century American numismatics. Though not rare in circulation, it remains beloved for its patriotic symbolism, unique reverse design, and connection to the bicentennial celebration. Collectors often seek high-grade uncirculated coin silver versions from San Francisco complete bicentennial sets quarter, half dollar, and dollar special edition proof and mint sets in original government packaging, OGP. It also stands as one of the few modern US coins to feature a temporary design change. Joining the ranks of classic commemoratives and modern collectible issues, the 1976 Kennedy Bicentennial half dollar, often affectionately called the Liberty half dollar due to its inscriptions and themes, is more than just pocket change, is a historical artifact. It captures the spirit of a nation reflecting on 2 centuries of independence, framed through the lens of a fallen president, a famous building, and a deeply symbolic design. Whether in a collector's case, a patriotic display, or passed down as a family keepsake, the coin endures as a meaningful token of America's journey through history. If you'd like, I can provide photos, value charts, or a collector's guide PDF. Would you like that? Last up, there is no official US Liberty half dollar coin from 1985, which might be the source of confusion. However, I'll clarify everything thoroughly, including potential similar coins. There are the actual US Liberty half dollars, for example. Walking Liberty 1916 to 1947, the US half dollar in 1985, Kennedy half dollar, possible 1985 commemorative coins with Liberty coin geography, circulation, and conduct in the world of American numismatics. Few coins captured the imagination quite like the Liberty half dollar, adorned with striking images of liberty, strength, and national identity. These coins are more than just currency, they are historical artifacts. But what about a Liberty half dollar from 1985? Let's journey through history, geography, and numismatic culture to uncover the story. While the term Liberty half dollar is often used by collectors and enthusiasts, there was no official half dollar coin issued in 1985 bearing the name Liberty half dollar. The United States Mint produced the Kennedy half dollar that year, featuring a portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. However, the word Liberty is indeed inscribed across the top of the obverse side of the Kennedy half dollar, a tradition that continues the Mint's long-standing use of liberty symbolism. To understand why some might refer to a Liberty half dollar, we need to go back in time. Designed by Adolph A. Weinman, the Walking Liberty half dollar is among the most iconic US coins ever minted. It depicts Lady Liberty striding confidently toward the rising sun, draped in the American flag, holding laurel and oak branches, a powerful image of freedom and national strength. Obverse Walking Liberty reverse, bald eagle perched on a mountain. Mint, Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco composition, 90% silver circulation, actively used until 1947. Many modern collectors refer to these coins simply as Liberty half dollars. Another earlier Liberty half dollar featuring Liberty seated with a shield and staff, symbolizing the nation's readiness to defend its ideals. The actual US half dollar issued in 1985 was the Kennedy half dollar, though not typically referred to as a Liberty half dollar. The word liberty is boldly displayed. Obverse President John F. Kennedy by Gilroy. Robert Shraver's Heraldic Eagle by Frank Gasparo composition. Copper nickel clad, not silver. Weight, 11.34 g diameter. 30.6 mg reed mints. Philadelphia no mint. Denver D mintage 1985. Philadelphia, approximately 18.5 million. Approximately 15.8 million. Geographical origin minted in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania and Denver, Colorado, two key U.S. mint locations. Coins used in daily commerce show signs of wear. For 1985 Kennedy, half dollars, most found today are in circulated condition, often worn and of minimal collector value, typically around face value 50 cents to $1 depending on condition. Uncirculated coins were never used in commerce. These may include mint sets released to collectors, bright, lustrous surfaces with no wear, and uncirculated 1985 Kennedy half dollar might fetch $2, $5, and up to $10, $20 for high-grade specimens, for example, MS-67 plus. But it's not rare. Proof coins, made for collectors, were not produced in 1985 due to a gap in minting. The San Francisco Mint did not strike proofs that year. No official commemorative half dollars with a Liberty theme were issued by the U.S. Mint in 1985. However, several private mints and metal producers created fantasy or tribute coins with Liberty depictions. These are not legal tender, and their value is based purely on collectability or metal content. If silver coins travel from the U.S. Mint to Federal Reserve banks, then to commercial banks, and into public hands. Half dollars, however, saw declining use in the 1980s. By 1985, Kennedy half dollars were mostly produced for collectors and bulk orders. They rarely circulated in daily transactions. This decline makes uncirculated rolls from 1985 somewhat scarcer, though not rare. The continued use of the word liberty on all US coins underscores a fundamental American ideal. While there is no dedicated Liberty half dollar from 1985, the legacy of Liberty in American coinage lives on, whether in walking Liberty designs, seated Liberty classics, or even modern coins like the American Silver Eagle, which revived the walking Liberty image. So while a Liberty half dollar from 1985 doesn't exist as an official coin, it opens a door into rich U.S. coin history, blending symbols of freedom with presidential tributes, evolving designs, and collector passion, whether in the hands of a child finding their first coin or a seasoned collector holding a pristine uncirculated piece. The story of liberty in American coinage is ever present. Coin years issued 1985 version notes Liberty seated half dollar own 8391891. Early Liberty design walking Liberty half dollar 1916 to 1947. Most famous Liberty half dollar Kennedy half dollar 1964 present 1985. Version available Liberty commemorative half 1985. No official Liberty themed commemorative half in 1985. If you have a specific coin you're holding that says 1985 and Liberty but looks different, you might be dealing with a privately minted round or metal. Feel free to send me a photo or describe it in more detail, and I can help identify it. Would you like a printable version of this script or want to turn it into a presentation format?